I guess I'll just cut right to the chase. Some of my disappointments with the finale. Hello and welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. My location has completely changed for this video. I have moved to a new apartment and my desk and my set for my videos is nowhere near set up at all. That room is just full of boxes right now. For now, I am coming to you from my beautiful new living room that I really love. It has great sunlight. I don't know where our ring light is right now, so I'm using the sunlight. So I had already recorded a video for this week at my old apartment to be ready, but I think I'm gonna push that one. It's about Survivor. But then last week, the finale of season 13 of RuPaul's Drag Race happened, and I am just excited to sort of give my thoughts on it, get other people's opinions on. I've done a few Drag Race recap videos on my channel, and I love Drag Race so much, so I had a lot of thoughts on that finale. I guess I'll just cut right to the chase. Some of my disappointments with the finale, but I'm not trying to be like a hater completely on the season. I know it has gotten a lot of criticism, a lot of hate. I'm not gonna pretend I wasn't part of that in my video about comparing UK Drag Race versus American Drag Race, but I'm trying to approach it just like as it is and looking at the pros and the cons of this season that I've observed. So I would love to hear y'all's thoughts because that finale was just choices. It was choices. So RuPaul's Drag Race season 13 began on January 1st of this year. It's kind of wild. It's, I think, the longest running season of Drag Race ever. Had a lot of extra episodes. Had a lot of episodes with nobody getting eliminated. It was a long season, which I think has its pros and cons to that. And you can check out my other video about sort of comparing it to UK and how its length has been a bit of a detriment. But I think the main detriment to the length isn't the length itself, the amount of episodes. It's the amount of like not eliminating people. So like Drag Race is a competition. I know a lot of people say like, oh, I wish no one can get eliminated. And I say that too. Sometimes I'm guilty of that. But also when you start not eliminating people, the stakes just don't feel very high. Like, for example, when Candy and Simone were in the bottom two that episode where there was a double save, the stakes felt so high because Simone and Candy were both such like important characters of the season. Simone was a front runner and Candy was a big character. So when they were both in the bottom, I think it felt like, whoa, the stakes are high. Like one of these big competitors is going home. Like that's wild. And then it was a double save. So the stakes are not high, and that makes for sort of like not being as excited for the episode because you feel like Candy can't get eliminated pretty much. Simone can't get eliminated. It just felt very overproduced, and that was sort of my point in my other video. I'm going to be in this video specifically talking about the finale and a little bit about the reunion because I feel like they go hand in hand and just sort of like the weirdness of it all. So overall, I think this season was okay aside from the length and the stakes issue that I was talking about. I think aside from that, the season was good. Like it brought some great looks, brought some great drama, fights in Untucked between Candy and Tamisha, brought about some like iconic cringe moments like Utica's roast. I think that's like one of those that will live in infamy. And I personally always like having those moments because I think they're iconic, even if they're in a bad way. I think it's just funny to reference now after the fact of the cringe. So I think season 13 was a strong season. It had a good cast and it had great looks. So it did have a lot of things going for it. I really was pretty disappointed in the finale. So let's talk about the final two episodes. The Reunited special and the finale. These were the episodes where I really got disappointed with season 13 and VH1 and the RuPaul's Drag Race producers, I guess. And I feel bad because I know a lot of people are saying, well, they did the best they could with COVID, but I've seen enough great media from the pandemic that I'm just not buying that anymore, and I really don't think they did the best they could with COVID. So let me start with some things I did like about the finale just before I start into my hate, my hating. So I really liked the ball aspect of the finale. I think that was a great touch, and we got to see some great looks. I think it was clear from the looks who were the top 2 of the season, which was another thing about season 13. It was so predictable in who was going to win. And spoiler alert, if you don't know the winner, I'm going to mention it beyond this point. From like episode 2, people knew Simone was going to win and Gottmik was going to get far. And going into the finale, it was clear from all the fan polls, from all the sibling watchery, the pit stop, from all of these sources that are in the Drag Race economy of commentary. Everyone sort of saw it a mile away that Simone was going to win. Everyone saw Gottmik as second place, despite how it shook out in the finale. Everyone really thought Gottmik was second place. And I think you could tell in the ball looks, because I think Candy and Rosé did a good job with their looks, but compared to Gottmik and Simone, that really just like, it's a whole elite level of drag that like we don't see very often. Like that was like finale grandeur. Personally, my favorite was Simone's nail look. I love some long bright nail representation, and I think Gottmik's sort of Maleficent or evil queen couture garment that was super show-stopping. So I think those were highlights of the whole finale and the ball. And I liked the ball. I would like to see it in future finales for sure. So the finale also opened with a RuPaul number. It's the most we've seen her sort of dance and perform in a long time. And I actually enjoyed this. Yeah, she was a little, stiff, but she's 60 years old, and I was truly like, whoa, RuPaul is coming out and moving around, and that was exciting. Like, I appreciated that touch. So that was another positive to the finale as well. And then ultimately, I think the winner, yes, the winner being Simone was a no-brainer, but it's also a positive for me that she won. She represents so much, and she really deserved it this season. She was killing it, honestly. Even when she was on the bottom, it was like, she's still killing it. Like, and I actually did like the lip sync theme of Britney Spears. They did 3 lip syncs to Britney Spears' song, and that was like the theme for the night. I actually enjoyed that. I know some people don't like the lack of variety or like the specific choices of Britney songs they chose, but I enjoyed it. I love Britney though, and I think it was cool. It was sort of happening during the Free Britney resurgence of the movement. And the final positive thing about the finale was the tribute to Chichi Devayne. Chichi Devayne was an amazing queen from season 8 who passed away this past year, and it was really sad, and I'm glad they honored her and acknowledged her in the finale. That was great, seeing some of her peers say some words about her. That was a great touch too, so glad they included that. So now let's move on to the bad. Those were sort of the positives of the finale for me. There was just a lot of strange choices for me in these final 2 episodes. I think my main issue with the end of the season is it feels like they just completely disregarded the rest of the cast of season 13. I feel like they produced the finale to like have the rest of the cast be as little involved as possible in the finale, which is super weird. This is not typically how RuPaul's Drag Race finales work. Usually it's a big event where all past queens from other seasons come, a lot of LGBT influencers come, a lot of like families of the top 4, and most importantly, the whole cast of the season. Obviously, I know they couldn't do that for this year. They could not bring like a theater full of people like in past years. What I just find so strange is that they just did not bring the rest of the cast. It felt like the top 4 were the only people that existed to the producers at this point, and I just find that so odd because you know, RuPaul's Drag Race has always, first of all, reunited them in a reunion special for the most part, and then reunited them again at the finale, have them walk the runway one final time, sort of get their recognition for being on the season. Both the reunion episode and the finale, it felt like the top 4 were the only cast members that mattered, and RuPaul. Even in the finale, Michelle wasn't there. Ross and Carson, like nobody. And I don't mean there physically. Like, I mean there at all. Like, they didn't even send in a video clip for those judges, for Michelle, Carson, and Ross at all. It's so strange. I just don't understand what happened with the producers that, like, it's like they could only focus on 4 queens. Maybe they were short-staffed. Like, they could only focus on the top 4 and RuPaul, but it happened both in the reunion and in the finale, this issue. In the reunion, I feel so scammed from that fucking reunion. I feel so scammed because they weren't reunited. That was false advertising and they should be sued for that. I do not understand what that reunion was. So basically, they just had the queen send in a video clip answering some questions. They sent them in an email without RuPaul talking to them, without them talking to the other queens. And then on top of it, the top 4 queens did get reunited. They seemed to be at some sort of rehearsal for the finale, so they were sort of seeing each other like in backstage of where the finale was going to happen. And we didn't get looks from them in the reunion. Again, the reunion is an important event for all the queens to showcase another look. A lot of the times it's more playful. Sometimes it's referencing something they did in that season or referencing something. I don't know. The reunion looks, I feel like, are always really fun. Like, I understand the top 4 not having looks. It was just sad not to see any looks from them in the reunion. We just saw them out of drag. And I sort of see now, since they had a ball planned, they had a lot more looks to prepare for the final 2 episodes, but it's still weird. And it's also weird not to have the top 4 interact with the other cast at all. Last year, season 12, the reunion and finale happened during COVID as well, and it was just much more organically done, at least. Like, the reunion was an actual Zoom reunion, which we didn't get in the season 13. It's like, we didn't get the queens interacting. We got, like, maybe a couple minutes of, like, a couple select queens interacting for 5 seconds. It really felt like producers didn't want to deal with scheduling everybody and figuring out, like, a good time for everybody. Because I don't know, like, it felt like lazy, honestly. And I feel bad because, you know, they are dealing with a pandemic, I understand, but it's like, that doesn't mean you can't schedule a Zoom reunion. Like, is it that hard? Like, am I missing something? Please comment below if I'm missing something, because that reunion was such a scam. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe they're bringing them in the finale, so we'll get to see them, you know, walk the runway. And then the finale, again, we get 2 seconds of each queen showing a look from home, not interacting with anything. I just feel like the rest of the cast of season 13, aside from top 4, I feel like got really robbed of a finale and a reunion. It's not because of COVID. I don't think season 12 got robbed. I do think season 12 got robbed a bit of their finale. The top 4 did, having their finale and crowning be official or like in person. But I feel like season 12 at least got their reunion moment. They got to show looks on Zoom, and they got their final programming all done during the pandemic. So I would let things slide more for the pandemic, and I do, but in this case, it feels like they really just didn't try. They didn't try to include the rest of the cast. That was my big issue with the finale. It feels like the producers they're done with the rest of the cast. They don't care about them. All they cared about was the top 4. Yet another thing, Drag Race UK finale, not to bring it back to Drag Race UK, but the comparison is there. Drag Race UK also filmed their finale and reunion I don't know if they didn't have a reunion, but they had like an Untucked sort of little reunion. They filmed all of that during a pandemic too. Like, I've heard rumors that like maybe some of the season 13 queens didn't want to do the quarantine to come in person. And first of all, I have a hard time believing that all of them would not want to quarantine. I think a lot of them wouldn't want to pass up another moment of being on television, like in a in-person capacity that is seen as very important, very valuable. So I think even if some of them didn't want to do the quarantine, I feel like at least some of them would have done it and been there if they were given the opportunity. I honestly feel like Drag Race just didn't want to pay their plane ticket, didn't want to pay their hotel, didn't want to figure out the quarantine, and was just like, screw it, let's just worry about the top 4. And I just don't like that because, you know, the rest of the cast made a great season along with the top 4, and I just feel like they have been just overlooked in these final episodes. And even the other judges, it felt weird without Michelle, without Carson, and without Ross. It's weird not to have them even zoom in. Another sort of issue in general for me with these finales is that they have gotten a bit stale. I know a lot of people in the fandom think that, and it is said every year. So like every year people are like, oh, the finale's not as good as they used to be. I do believe the VH1 producers saw Sasha's moment and are just trying to, what is it, make lightning in a bottle? Is that the saying? Make lightning in a box again or something. They're sticking to that formula like their life depends on it. When we're just expecting reveals and the unexpected constantly, we're never going to be as surprised or as gagged as we were with Sasha. I feel like they need to let it go. I don't think they will, as long as RuPaul is the figurehead. And if he ever retires, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for a refresh of the format of the whole American Drag Race series. I think the best lip sync was Gottmik versus Simone doing Gimme More, but the others they just felt like lip syncs from the season. They didn't feel like lip syncs for the crown. I understand they're not going all out with the reveals as much, but they still have to have them. It just feels like uninspired and unrelated to the song. I've seen this idea out there. I don't know if it's been from Bob and Monet or from All Right Mary or from other content I've watched, but it would be amazing if the Drag Race finale would just give the queens a budget, an equal budget to each queen, and tell them, you have this stage and this amount of money, like $10,000, and you have to bring a performance. That is the prompt, and that is the finale, and that's how you judge it. Imagine how amazing it would be to see a comedy queen do a comedy performance, to see a dancing queen do a dance acrobatic number. Like, there's so many possibilities, and this is a lot like the Project Runway method, where at the end they get a budget to make a fashion collection. So it's been done and it works. Like, they could also give them more constraints, like it has to have a song in it or something, but honestly, I think it would create an amazing thing. And I believe Drag Race Thailand does this type of finale, and they're really great seasons. We even got a little taste of it in season 12 in their finale, where they got to sort of produce their lip sync for the crown music video type thing, and we got to see sort of each queen's personality a little more and their creativity. We had Crystal Method's bird thing that was super iconic, that we never would have gotten had we gotten a typical finale. It just really feels like VH1 and the producers of American RuPaul's Drag Race, at least, they're so scared of anything being out of their control. It feels like the queens have no creative freedom to get the crown. They don't want an audience there because they're so scared of the spoilers. They don't want to bring the other queens back to not have controversies or scandals or people yelling at each other. I don't know, even though that's good reality TV, so I don't understand. It just feels like it is so controlled. Like, for example, the whole drive-in thing of the fans being woo. I don't believe they watched any of the finale. I think they just showed them on a screen what to do, like clap or hug each other or something, because I mean, in the shots where you see the screen they're watching, it looks very obviously like keyed in. And maybe they did show them like clips or some of the lip syncs, but I just feel like the reactions of the people, even though they're wearing masks, they were like very perfect reactions to everything that was going on. When RuPaul would laugh, the audience in the drive-in thing would be like, ha ha ha, too. And it just feels like, what? And then also, oh my god, like Gottmik's parents, they sent her like a little video message, and they were like reading off a script, like very obviously. I'm not just conspiring here, like this actually was a script. Like you could see them reading it off to the side. The things they were saying were very like poetic and planned out, which sure, they could have written it because they're nervous and don't want to mess up, but it just felt like there was zero spontaneity and organic moments in this finale, and that's kind of crazy. Like, this is supposed to be reality TV, right? And we fall in love with these queens, these characters, but nothing was out of the producer's control. Absolutely nothing. And it showed. We felt it. It felt so cold, and like, it's unfortunate because it was a good season. It was a great cast. Like, it feels like the producers just don't trust the cast to do the exact right thing they want to do at all times. Even though that's what makes Drag Race iconic. All the iconic moments are some of the most dumb or real or spontaneous types of moments. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. Like, the producers just don't trust the queens to do what they want. Maybe they're traumatized from like Miss shall not be named Pie from season 12. Maybe the producers are being more careful, like more scared of just like controversy in general. I have no idea what this is, but it's like weird. Do y'all agree with me? Ever since season 9 switched to VH1, people have argued that Drag Race has become pretty overproduced, but this finale and reunion felt like a level that I have not felt before with Drag Race. I hope it can just go away with the pandemic. I hope other seasons learn from it. I honestly hope RuPaul sort of retires soon. I think there's so much opportunity with Drag Race to make it relevant to current pop culture, current generations too. I don't know if it's all of his decisions, but it feels like there's an out of touchness, and you see him let go in UK, and that's why UK is so good. But literally, like in Drag Race UK on that finale, when they all came out singing A Little Bit of Love, the rest of the cast of Drag Race UK season 2, I cried in that moment seeing them all together. I don't know, maybe it was because that finale was filmed with close to the season, so they stayed quarantined. They didn't have to do an extra quarantine. Or maybe it's because in Britain they could just like take the train there. I don't know. It's easier to get to the right place. But the impact of seeing the cast together reunited on Drag Race UK's finale was like so powerful. I literally cried. Season 13 could have had a moment like that would be so touching and nice to see in a pandemic, see them all together again. But I don't know. I think they are relying on that pandemic.
Stop relying on that coronavirus
to excuse like some choices that could have been done just as fine with a pandemic, like a Zoom reunion in the reunion episode, or having them quarantine or get tested. And on top of it, they had a bunch of dancers there for RuPaul's performance and for the whole thing. So we know they had other people. I don't think 10 dancers were necessary over like Michelle or like the rest of the cast. And I would love to know what you guys think, because I feel weird. I feel like a hater just hating on the season. I do think it had a lot of strengths. I think it has a great winner. I think she's iconic. Gottmik was an iconic contestant as well. It did have a lot of positives, but this finale especially just felt so strange to me, and I would love to hear what you guys think. I promise I'll try to get my set up and running soon. I just wanted to talk about this while it was relevant and while I had all these thoughts fresh in my head. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out new videos at least once a week. Usually twice a week, but April has been a little different. I can't believe it that people are watching and discussing things with me in the comments. That's kind of like the biggest, coolest part about my YouTube channel so far, is that I've seen so many great and cool opinions and insights from the people that are watching, and I don't get to do this too much in my regular life, so it's really awesome to talk about these niche shows and pop culture. So you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Miscellaneous to find out about new videos, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.